How did this trip impact the way you view our life or culture?
Well, I don't think that this particular trip probably impacted it very much. I've been on several different mission trips, and I would say that as a whole, lumped together, they've impacted the way I view our life and culture. But not necessarily this one. I think you tend to see, as you go to different places, especially poorer places, and see people, very happy with the little that they have, you realize, Paul was onto something when he said, I've learned to be content no matter what the circumstances, because contentment, I think, I've seen in these trips, really doesn't have much to do with what we have. It more has to do with the people in our lives, and of course, especially the Lord in our lives. So it's something I guess I've learned over the years, but not necessarily on this trip.
What, if anything, surprised you about the Polish people or their culture?
They eat a lot of sausage. That surprised me. I thought Polish sausage was just something they ate every now and then, but they eat a lot of sausage. Other than that, not a lot. Mildly surprising, there's a real affinity towards Americans, which isn't always that common in Europe, but I knew that Poland was pretty friendly towards Americans. So I don't know. I mean, I'd read about Poland over the years, and so I'm not sure that anything really surprised me, but I guess that was one thing I did notice was the friendliness. And then just, different food. I mean, anywhere you go, you get that.
What were the main differences between you and the Polish people you met?
Well, the main difference was that I know the Lord, and most of them didn't. The ones that did know the Lord, I suppose one difference, certainly between me and a lot of them, but perhaps in general between Americans and them, there was perhaps a little more openness. That's a hard one to say, because a lot of Americans are pretty open too. So that's a hard question to answer, because in many ways there weren't that many differences. I mean, that's the thing that surprises me when I go places, is that when you find people who are brothers and sisters in the Lord, it doesn't seem that there are very many differences. And that's, I guess, the thing I notice is the commonality.
What was your favorite part?
My favorite part of the trip. Wow. Getting Stephen and Joanna and Allie and Courtney to finally run their workout. That was a highlight. I don't know. I guess probably Friday night may have been my favorite part, because it started so badly. It was our last night, and it was the night that we were trying to wrap up the evening meetings we'd done. And it had a really dismal start, just chaos and confusion. I mean, the whole week was chaos and confusion, to be honest. But this one even more so, this night. And it was distressing a little bit, because I thought, how is this ever going to work? How is anybody even going to hear anything I would have to say at the end? But by the time we got to the end, after the drama, after the music was all done, which was very loud and noisy and chaotic, but then towards the end, I was amazed at how attentive people were. And it was one of those things where the Lord just showed up. And it was pretty obvious that the Lord showed up. And that was probably my favorite part. That, and walking through the airport at Seattle and seeing my wife and family.
What would you say to others who are thinking of going on a missions trip?
I would say check your motives. It is very easy to go on a mission trip for all the wrong reasons. I think we have a tendency to think that it's going to be this wonderful thing and we're going to just change all kinds of lives if we go. And that can happen, but I think more typically the result of mission trips tends to be in the hearts and lives of the people that go. I mean, you know, we show up for a week or so and make a little splash and then leave. That's not going to be typically a life-changing experience for people that live there. My experience has been it's more life-changing for the people that go because you've removed yourself from your familiar surroundings, put yourself out of your comfort zone, perhaps in a place that's a little easier to hear the voice of the Holy Spirit because you don't have the distractions that you normally have at home. So don't go thinking it's all about you and what you're going to accomplish. Go thinking it's more about what God's going to accomplish in you, and maybe through you at the same time, but perhaps mostly in you. And I think that can save you from a lot of difficulty and struggle and resistance when things go awry, because rather than seeing it as the death of a vision of great mission endeavors, it may be exactly what the Lord wants to be doing because He has something to work out in your heart. So that would be my word of advice.
How have you changed?
I don't change very much, and I'm not very fast, and a week trip's probably not going to change me much at the ripe old age of 52. How have I changed? I have grown to have a deep antipathy for the word flexibility. I like the concept. It's just a word that bothers me. It can be overused.